pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know. I asked them to get them for me for Christmas.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening to everyone at home. What do I do with my glasses? Excuse me while I search for my glasses. What did I do with them? I don't know. We'll do without. Public comment. Does anybody bring any public comment to the meeting? Being none, I'll say that all of our meetings are open to the public. If anyone would like to come and address the town board, because of the COVID, the virus, there's no reason why you can't come here, but we need to know that you are coming. The downstairs door is locked at 7 o'clock. So if you're coming and you want to present something before the town board, just get here before 7, a couple of minutes before 7. Let me know that you're coming so that we can arrange the seating and social distancing. And you most certainly can talk to the town board during public comment. And you can stay for the meeting if there's space available. Okay, we have a couple of sets of minutes from our town clerk. I have the minutes of November the 9th for approval.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes of November 23rd.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. National Weather Service. I'm sure that you'll be hearing this from the television, most every newscast. Sometimes I think they give you the news in between weather forecasts, but, and there's more weather forecasts than news. They are uncertain where the edges of the storm will be. This is the storm coming in Wednesday and going out on Thursday. The temperatures will be below freezing ahead of the precipitation, allowing a fast accumulation. Be aware that this storm affect Wednesday afternoon's rush hour and Thursday morning as well. Based on what we've heard, Thursday looks like the worst anticipated snowfall, exceeding 2 inches of snowfall per hour. Moisture ratio in the snow will be high, so that makes it heavy. Be careful out there shoveling. If you're my age, you don't want to shovel too much. You find one of these kids in the neighborhood that'll, and you don't see them many anymore, these kids that used to run the neighborhoods and shovel, but if they're out there, just grab a hold of them. And I love this sentence. The news says we could get a dusting in Orange County or 12 inches. That's pretty good. Okay, Route 218, we'll be closing that.
We're back up.
Oh, good, good. I have a, Justin, you can explain the resolution for investment?
Certainly. New York class is the New York Cooperative Liquid Asset Security System, and so they are authorized under the general municipal law cooperative agreement among municipalities to invest certain funds. I think it was 3, 4, 5 years ago at this point, where you initially started investing some of your funds to get a greater rate of return. That's been successful. Right now, the comptroller reported that the current funds invested are at a very minimal rate of return. New York class provides a substantially greater benefit should you choose to invest with them. It's all liquid. You're able to take your money easily. It's not locked up for any significant period of time. And again, it's all under a general municipal cooperative agreement. So it's vetted. It's a secure place to put your money. This resolution simply authorizes you're entering into that investment agreement with what's known as New York class.
Little history on that, going back, I'd say maybe 5 years ago, we were invested in this company, and then all of a sudden their interest rate was zero. And so we jumped out of that and found another, and I give Kelly all the credit for keeping up with it and finding the right place to invest our money. And our money investment is, when they pull taxes, $6 million or so of taxes, that goes, a portion of it goes in there, because we're not going to use it all at one time, and we pull a little extra money. So I have a resolution to authorize cooperative investment agreement with New York Cooperative Liquid Asset Security System called New York Class. Do I have a motion to pass the resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Perry?
Aye.
And Supervisor Lipsy?
Aye. And our budget transfers, all on one sheet. I'll go through them all. Any questions, please stop me and ask your questions on them. From FICA, for legal expenses, we're transferring 2 legal expenses, $8,000 for unplanned aid. Unemployment insurance, the town hall other expenses, $2,500 additional cleaning supplies. Unemployment insurance, the town hall contractual, $3,000 for under budgeted contractual service that are all COVID related. Zoning and other expenses to zoning personal services, $130 for additional hours for the secretary. Emergency action coordinator equipment to emergency action coordinator personal services to cover prior year and current year's salary. That was $850. Emergency action coordinator equipment, emergency action coordinator personal services, $150. I suppose that's added on to the $150 to cover prior year and current year's salary. Unemployment insurance to compensation insurance, $800. Budget transfer from this account was done before the last payment was processed. Highway fuel to highway safety equipment, $215 for safety equipment over budget. Ambulance personal services to ambulance vehicle maintenance, $4,300 for a transmission on the ambulance. Ambulance training to meds mandated for the ambulance, $125 to purchase meds that are over budget. Ambulance FICA to ambulance comp insurance, $1,120 to $5 to workers' comp, which was under budgeted. Sewer equipment to sewer building personal services, $350. Sewer building expenses were under budgeted. Is there any questions? No questions? I ask for a motion to approve the budget transfers.
So moved.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried, thank you. Okay, we got that. Liaison reports. Richard Parry, please.
Nothing really that important, other than just again like to thank all the municipal employees for all the work that they do in keeping the services for the community going forward. And just like to compliment the residents of the community on their decorations, the holiday decorations. I always get a little down this time of year because of I guess, the limited daylight hours. But if you go down the streets around the community, things are lit up pretty good. And I think it looks great. So compliments to the residents of the community. That's all, Bob.
Thank you. Councilman King?
Good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. So, a few notes tonight. I'll start with the ambulance corps. With the rise of the cases of COVID-19, and specifically here in the town of Highlands, they're going to obviously continue to try to meet every call. It's a challenge because of personnel, but at the same time, they have been doing a heroic job in that respect. They've had elections most recently, and now that they are complete, they will be swearing in their new officers on January 5th, 2021, and the supervisor will swear them in.
Yes, sir.
I'll be present as well. Looks like we're starting to incur a shortage again on the PPE. You know, as we're using this and we got additional runs to make, it looks like the specific sizes are medium and large gloves. And I've already talked to Kurt Hahn to see if he can assist with that. And so we'll look at other opportunities, other resources that we can try to fill those requirements. But it's noted that we are now getting on it. We've got both vehicles in service, 385 and 386. We'll follow up with Pat Patterson on that to see what we can do to make sure as we approach the winter weather with snow coming that they got chains on those vehicles. The captain has some concerns about a ambulance service in the area that is appears to be more compensating their EMTs a little better, so we'll discuss that possibly in executive session or whenever you'd like to, Supervisor. But it's just a concern by the captain I want to bring forward, that some of our people may be going over there to work as a result of this quote-unquote competition. And then the last thing for the ambulance corps would be, we tabled during the budget time, I thought we did, and then it's come up again through the channels of the ambulance corps about personnel and potentially hiring someone to ensure that they can still meet the requirements of the village and town as we increase these cases and so forth. But so personnel is another issue in terms of hiring. Potentially one employee is another thing I want to discuss when the appropriate time comes. Okay, moving on to recreation. Spoke with the recreation director today. He wanted to convey to me and to us that currently there's still no real movement on recreation in terms of facilities because of COVID-19 pandemic. You know, you really can't get in to play basketball. In fact, we're denied the opportunity to go in and try to play basketball because of what's going on with the pandemic. The plan for baseball and softball in the spring is continue to make the plans necessary to be able to go forward once the opportunity arises. But as it stands right now, really no movement. In lieu of doing direct recreation support, he, if you don't know by now, is doing a heroic job at getting out there and filling a need for this community by way of food for those in need. So that program has been reinstated and it's reinvigorated with even more, looks like food and things. And so this week in particular, the date will change from Thursday to Friday. because of the fact that we're anticipating a big snowstorm on Wednesday, and we don't want to bring people out on Thursday into the snow, well, if at all possible. So I concur with him on that. And there will be also this week turkeys being distributed for the upcoming Christmas holiday. And so for folks at home that are in need, just know that there's a lot of food, and there will be also additionally turkeys, and that will be from 12 to 2 at the American Legion here in town. And if anybody's interested in volunteering, then you get with Aaron Falk directly in that respect. And then next week, I think we're gonna go to Wednesday prior to Christmas holiday. Then we're gonna do an issue on Wednesday rather than Thursday. And then afterwards, we'll go back to normal schedule. And then we're going on to emergency management. I had a great conversation with Kurt, who's on top of his game as usual, our emergency management coordinator. And one of the things we're doing, trying to lean forward as we prepare for upcoming winter storm and other events, and to include managing our risk with, as it pertains to COVID-19. He and I are huddling with one another probably weekly, and then we're going to soon bring in some others like Chief of Police and, Fire Department, Ambulance Corps, to have a larger discussion about if we would, God forbid, have a disaster of some sort where we got to manage that crisis. We want everybody to be on the same sheet of music. So we may end up transitioning to maybe even a Zoom meeting to be able to continue this discussion without bringing everybody in. So just more to follow on that, but I just want you to know, the town to know, the board to know, that I am in close contact with our coordinator, Kurt Hahn, and, we are definitely continuing to plan for worst case scenarios. Nothing from Dollar Bus at this time, and Chief will brief his own. That's all I got.
Thank you. Councilman Sullivan?
Good evening, everybody. The Zoning Board of Appeals had a long, hard, arduous year. They're taking the month of December off. They have nothing on their agenda, so they won't be meeting. They normally meet the third Wednesday of the month. However, our planning board attorney is here. The planning board will be meeting. They'll be meeting remotely. Eric sent me the link, but it's not on the website yet. I'll see to it that Kelly has it on the website tomorrow. That'll be this Thursday night, I believe, December 17th. I didn't look at the agenda, but they will be meeting this Thursday night. People can look at the website and log in if they want to. In the building department, things are going pretty smooth. I mean, I don't know how many people know about it yet. On a few projects, we have Lankin Tully helping us out. They have CEOs and BSIs out there, and that is working out very well. The Community Environmental Advisory Committee with Olga met here last Friday. They'll be giving a year-end report. She's working on it now. With COVID-19, it was hard to get much done, but they're doing great work and they're trying, and I applaud that committee. In Fort Montgomery, the fire district, which is comprised of 5 commissioners, had their annual election, and that was last Tuesday. Congratulate Mickey Cahill for winning. He's been in 5 years and looks like he's going to do 5 more. And the fire department had I think they have biannual elections, I'm not sure, last Thursday. I'd like to congratulate our own Ryan Falk, who's going to be the chief. He'll be sworn in on January 1st. His assistant will be Richie Salva. Great organization. And a little honorable mention to Don Smith. He was the chief down there for 10 years. That's a long time. He did it for 10 years, so he did a nice job. And down at the sewer plant, I spent the better part of a day down there last week with Jerry, I don't remember his last name, from Fusco's office, discussing the project. So the belt press foundation is done. The belt press, as you know, won't be available till sometime in February. And the day I was there, the electric was shut off because O&R was changing over the service, so they had a generator there. Not Perullo, what's the name? Pantel, is that the name of the electric company?
Pantel, yeah.
Pantel. They were down there working, and I discussed the project with Jerry. It was not quite synchronized the way I thought it should be chronologically. I'm not going to offer what he said about that, but nonetheless, we're waiting. TAM probably won't be there till this belt press comes in February to continue with their work. They need that to continue on. And at 2 pump stations, I'd like to thank, don't know if he'll mind me mentioning it, Jimmy Ripa has one behind his house. When the alarm doesn't work, he calls me, which he did a couple of weeks ago. That one's being replaced because it's not functional. And the one in 9W, Corbin Hill, is not functional. Jimmy tried his best for a couple of days. So we had TAM come in, they have that guy Keith that replaced those. That's important, can't have those overflowing and going into the lake or anything else. So that's been done. And that's about it.
Okay. I attended virtually a meeting, I guess, of the Orange County Department of Planning, along with Councilman-elect Modeling. I'm not 100% sure on exactly what information we got, and I asked Jim today, what did you get out of that? And I didn't get a whole lot out of it, but it is military installation resiliency. And basically, they are looking at, I think, predominantly the power coming into the military installation, and they want to upgrade that, and along with an upgrade to that power, I think that comes to us also, and at least in the village, so they would be upgrading the power coming into the village. So,
And the town also.
and town also. So did I explain that well enough? Jim?
Well,
If you got anything to say on it, please do.
Well, yeah, thanks, it is it's either a DOD or Department of the Army initiative. It is, at least the first phase of it, going to be the electric power, upgrading the transmission line that comes into West Point, but also feeds into the town of Highlands. I think there's going to be a follow-on effort, but not part of this initial effort, to look at gas also. And, but it's specifically, and that's what Department of Defense or DA, one of the two, is very interested in, is making sure that there is a benefit to the local surrounding community and not just the military installation. And so that's why I think we've been invited to it to represent it and stuff like that. But it was certainly an initial meeting. There's a steering group, which is what we were invited to. And they're going to be putting together a statement of work. They're going to be putting together a RFP, request for proposals. And that's all, and there's a timeline, I think, that they were talking about. This whole thing is supposed to be for like about 18 months, starting in December now. And, but they're going to bring a contractor in, or contractors, to develop this study. And so it's, but there is an intent, and that's what that DAE or DOD guy was really talking about, and I think Orange County is all with it, to ensure that there is a benefit to the community.
Now, if
So
I understood it
we'll be
right,
looking at it.
this is on grant money, and the grant is coming through Orange County Department of Planning.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And it's an Orange County project. It's not a U.S. government project. It's an Orange County project, but there's the hooks that the federal government has for it.
Okay. In the spirit of Christmas, a local resident who wants to go nameless donated a number of Christmas trees that was purchased at our fire department down in Fort Montgomery and given to those who were in need. Some of the people, I had Aaron spearhead that for me, and some of the people he found were not going to have a Christmas tree, and now all of a sudden they got the Christmas tree that they couldn't afford. So it was a very nice gesture from this gentleman, and again, he wants to go nameless, just a very nice thing to do. Anything? Justin?
Just the agenda items.
Okay. Chief?
Just a couple of things, sir.
I got something for you when you get done, but go ahead.
In regards to PPE, I was out Monday to the county. Commissioner Sherry, who's the police liaison, we were able to grab an ample amount of PPE for police. So we're, I won't say pretty well stocked, we're in good shape.
Okay.
I actually asked for some gowns as well, because it could be a situation where they have to go to a house and I'm not too sure, so we were able to get those as well. Saturday, we finished up our procedural justice training and moved on to implicit bias. So we only have a couple of officers left to go first of the year, and then we're going to continue on with our reforms. So at that point, mandatory two-part training will be done. Procedural justice number 2 comes in about 6 months. So we evaluate what we've done with the first round. I took it the other afternoon in Crawford PD, and I thought it was good. If nothing else, it puts us on task. And I'm happy to report that Ray Mang Sr. is back from deployment. This was his 3rd deployment overseas, and he's back on the schedule. Matter of fact, he helped us out Saturday. We supplied some protection at the Stony Lonesome Gate at the request of the state police. And traffic was smooth, sailing coming in. That's about it.
Chief, I noticed coming into work here, I've noticed it a couple of times, and I never brought it up to you, and it may have been reported, but starting at the Bagel Cafe, going south, there are four streetlights,
We have a...
of which only one works.
Correct. We
Okay.
have a big list that we're going to make, so we only put one, I talked to Mr. Sullivan last week. The website only takes one, and no one answers the phone. So we're going to compile the whole list in the next couple of weeks for the whole town and send one down to them.
Good,
I
okay.
talked to Pat about that as well, because at one point our flashing sign wasn't working, but that's solar. So we knew that there couldn't be any problem there. We don't know if it was just because of the way the weather was, so we're monitoring that as well. But we'll have a list, Rapoli does it, and we'll have to send them an email because they don't answer the phone, which I know they're limited. And if you call another number, they tell you to do it on the website, which is a lot easier for me just to send an email with a list.
And you got the poll numbers and all that
We'll have
stuff,
every
right?
poll
Yeah,
number
yeah,
information.
okay. Good, then I don't have to stop and put my life in danger.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, I'm gonna give you a call probably tomorrow. I wanna get more abreast of the mandatory requirements that we gotta do for the reforms. I know you've told me about some of this stuff, most of it, but just to ensure that I'm tracking overall the gate that we gotta get through,
Sure.
I just wanna talk with you one-on-one.
The next step probably should be to form the committee, with the stakeholders in the community.
Yeah.
And at that point, start to meet, first would probably be a Zoom meeting. So the stakeholders in the community have a say in what goes on. And then the police department obviously is involved as well. So everybody comes to the table to make a better community. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I just read something, I think it was Washingtonville or some other municipality, that Warwick, I think it was, that was showing how they laid it all out, so yeah.
And we're not too far behind, and
Okay.
others are not even as far as us. So the key is to let the officers know about the training first, so they know what's expected of them. And the first training is more, I would say it's more of a refresher for the most part, but it's really how the community perceives you,
Right,
and vice versa. And that's what I think is the goal here, in any community.
that's right. Now, you guys are doing fabulous, keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, before we go into the next resolution, this is a note from Kyle Shorett, who is in the ambulance corps, EMT in the ambulance corps, and he's the, what's his title?
Administrative assistant.
Okay. As per our conversation, Bob, attached is the ALS Medicare agreement with a new commercial EMS agency called Ambulance. That's spelled with a Z on the end. They purchased the old TransCare Con Certificate of Need that covers our county as an ALS provider. Ambulance has their main station of operations for this county right near US Route 9W and Interstate 84. The reason, this is what I wanted to come out, the reason for this ALS Medicare agreement is because we have already had an ambulance mutual aid to our district numerous times. Since they have started conducting business in this county, when mobile life is unavailable, Orange 911 automatically goes to them for the ALS service. Without this agreement signed, our residents and patients who have Medicare will receive multiple bills for ambulance service. By signing this agreement, it'll alleviate any unnecessary ALS bills to any Medicare patient. So if we approve this, he needs a few things signed, which I'll take care of. So that's what this next resolution is all about. It's to designate certain no, it's the wrong one. It's an agreement, I'm asking the town board to allow me to sign the agreement for receipt of advanced life support services. This is the same agreement that we have with the New Windsor Ambulance Corps.
Motion. That you
I have
sign on.
a motion, allow me to sign.
Second.
Second, we'll do a roll call on it.
Yes, Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember King,
All right,
Councilmember Perry,
Aye.
Supervisor Lipsy.
Aye. Now, as part of this very large program that the governor has mandated to us, covering every angle of this COVID-19 virus and the pandemic that we're going through. So this is one small thing in it, but we need to designate essential workers in the town of Highlands. Go for it, Justin.
Sure. Well, it's just as the supervisor indicated, and it's listed in the 1, 2, 3, 4th recital of the resolution, whereas employees and volunteers of the town of Highlands working in emergency services, including the police department, fire department, ambulance corps, sanitation department, and highway department, involved in emergency responses and operations, have demonstrated their essential skills and commitment to the well-being of the town multiple times throughout the years. Points to the most recent example being COVID-19 and the response in that regard. And so it would designate members of those departments as essential workers.
So now therefore be resolved that the Town of Highlands Town Board designates and recognizes all employees and volunteers of the Police Department, Fire Department, Ambulance Corps, Sanitation Department, and Highway Department as essential workers. Do I have a motion to move the resolution?
motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember King,
Aye.
Councilmember Perry,
Aye.
Supervisor Lipsy.
Aye. I have a letter from our Deputy Chief, John Hickey. As you know, I've been on leave of absence and while I was awaiting a decision on my Social Security disability. I just received a decision and I was approved. At this time, I respectfully resign my position as Deputy Chief of Police with the Town of Highlands Police Department. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for providing me with an opportunity to serve the people of the town of Highlands and for your support. It has been a real pleasure for me. I would also like to thank Chief Perry for making me feel comfortable and for his unwavering support. I will miss working with him. Thank you and be safe. John Hickey. I'll ask for a motion to accept the resignation.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I received a letter, and we're going to talk about this in executive session, from a attorney by the name of Alexandria Bourne. Please accept this correspondence as a formal request for the town board to consider me for an appointment as town justice. I understand there will be an interim vacancy in January 2021 due to Justice Donaldson's retirement. I have included an additional copy of my resume for consideration, and I sent a resume out to everyone involved. So we'll talk about that during a very quick executive session, which we'll talk about that and what we're going to do about the deputy chief. Is there anything the town board has?
I
Our
just
next-
had one last thing.
Go ahead.
I forgot to say that like my colleague on the left there, say, thank you so much to the emergency management folks, particularly the police force and the ambulance corps, for all the hard work they've done throughout this pandemic in particular. And then, you know, as much as they could, try to keep everybody safe. So, you know, have a happy holiday to you all, and just see you in 2021, or whenever we're gonna see you again, but be safe out there.
Yeah, 2020 has been some year. I don't think anybody could have, in their remote imagination, imagined what we would go through as a nation. And I'm very proud of the nation that's gone through it. It's amazing that we could have people do things simply wearing masks. Not everybody wears a mask, but boy, oh boy, the majority of people do wear a mask. So with the holiday coming up, Christmas in between our next meeting, I would just like to ask everyone to, as safely as possible, enjoy the tradition of Christmas and Hanukkah. Please enjoy it and try to forget about this year that we've had a disaster happen to us. Anyone else like to join me? Rich?
No, I think you covered it, Bob. It's been tough for people in many different ways, and but even with these situation, I still think we have a lot to be thankful for, and just wish everybody happy holidays. That's all.
I don't want to say anything that's a downer. I happen to be working in a village where I see evictions happening pretty frequently, and there's not one Christmas light anywhere in that village. It's a pleasure to drive through Fort Montgomery and Highland Falls and see the way it's decorated and the spirit that people are expressing. Been a rough year. Not everybody here sees it, but there's people out there hurting, and I'm just very thankful for this community and hope everybody's safe. And 2021 can't come fast enough.
That's for sure. Motion to adjourn?
No.
No?
Executive
Let's go into
session.
executive session.
Thank you very much. I don't know what I'd do without you.
You don't have to, but.
I'll ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will not return from executive session.